Imagine you're in a room with a leader, the kind of person who commands attention the moment they step into a room. Every word they speak, every move they make, sends waves of influence across the space. But here's the thing, it's not always their words that are shaping the room. It's their silence, their timing, their control over every single interaction. What if I told you that the most powerful tactics in psychological warfare aren't about force, threats, or anger? They're about understanding the human mind and manipulating it in ways you could never imagine. And no, it's not magic, it's psychology. In this video, we're going to uncover 5 powerful tactics that the world's most successful leaders use to control the masses, shape conversations, and even manipulate entire societies. But the twist is, these aren't tactics born out of evil or dark intentions. They are tools that, when used wisely, can lead to spiritual healing and satisfaction. These strategies have been employed by politicians, CEOs, and world-changing leaders. They know how to connect on a deeper level with their audience, building trust, but also subtly bending situations to their advantage. And as you watch this video, you might discover how these very tactics can also empower you to harness control over your own life, your relationships, and your career without force, without aggression. So, stick around, because by the end of this video, you won't just understand psychological warfare, you'll experience spiritual satisfaction and healing that comes with recognizing your own power. Think about the most dominant people in the world: business leaders, politicians, and high-status personalities. They don't rush to speak. They don't fill the air with empty words. Instead, they pause. They let silence do the work, and in doing so, they make others chase their approval. Interrogators use silence to break people mentally under pressure. Most will say anything to escape the void, even if it means exposing their weaknesses. In negotiations, words are liabilities. The less you say, the more they give away. Social manipulators use silence to force people to seek their validation, to second-guess their own words, actions, and choices. Silence, when mastered, is the ultimate power move: control without words. Tactic 1. The power of silence. Let's start with the first and most subtle tactic of all, the power of silence. This is a tool that every great leader has mastered, whether consciously or subconsciously. Think about it when you're in a tense situation. Does the person who talks the most always seem like they're in control? Or does the person who says less, but says it with weight, with meaning, command more attention? The truth is, silence, when used correctly, can be a form of psychological control like no other. It's almost magical. People don't fear silence. What they fear is the uncertainty that silence creates. Think about it. When someone remains silent, your mind starts racing. What do they mean by that? And suddenly, you're out of control, chasing their validation, seeking their approval, longing for their next word. This uncertainty is what gives silence its immense power. When people are silent, they hold the power. Why? The more that silence persists, the more you feel that you need their validation, their approval. And when they remain silent, you chase after their next move, desperate to regain control. Let's break it down. Imagine you're sitting in a room and the conversation is flowing smoothly. Ideas are being exchanged. People are speaking freely. Suddenly, the person in charge, the CEO, the leader, pauses. The room falls silent. The conversation halts. You begin to feel uneasy. The discomfort starts to creep in. It's as if the air becomes thicker, the tension palpable. The silence is no longer neutral, it's powerful. The longer it lasts, the more you wonder, did I say something wrong? What do they think of me? Here's where the magic happens. The leader doesn't need to say a word to maintain control. The silence gives them all the power. It's as if they've turned the tables, making you, the one speaking the most, feel uneasy and out of place. But here's the deeper beauty of silence. Silence isn't just for domination in leadership or negotiations. It's a tool for personal healing and spiritual growth. In a world filled with constant noise, the moments of silence allow you to reconnect with yourself, to find inner peace. Silence as a spiritual tool. When you learn to embrace silence, you begin to see that you don't need to fill every moment with words, noise, or actions. Silence becomes your greatest tool for personal healing. In many cultures and spiritual traditions, silence is viewed as a means of connecting with the divine, a practice that helps cleanse the mind, body, and soul. Just think about how powerful it is when you can sit still, free from distractions, and listen to your own inner voice. In those moments, you can reflect on your values, recalibrate your intentions, and align with a deeper sense of purpose. As you embrace silence, you start to realize that your worth is not in how much you speak, but in how much you listen, both to others and, more importantly, to yourself. It is through listening to the stillness that we often find the answers we seek. Applying silence in personal life and leadership. Let's take a moment to talk about how you can apply this tactic in your personal life and leadership. Whether you're trying to lead a team, build a business, or simply grow within your relationships, silence is an essential tool. By using silence strategically, you give space for people to reveal themselves. They start to talk more, reveal their true intentions, and expose their vulnerabilities. This can work to your advantage, whether in personal relationships or business negotiations. The magic is in making others fill the silence by searching for validation you don't even need to give them. As a leader, practicing silence doesn't mean being aloof or disconnected. It's about being intentional with your words and actions and knowing when to let silence guide the flow of a conversation. In your personal life, this practice can help you create a deeper connection with those around you, allowing for more meaningful exchanges without the need for constant noise. Tactic 2: Strategic pauses. Now, let's explore one of the most understated yet powerful tactics in the art of psychological influence: strategic pauses. This is where silence transforms into a strategic weapon used to manipulate the dynamics of a conversation, negotiation, or decision-making process. The power of a pause lies in its ability to command attention and create a sense of suspense, giving you control over the flow of interaction without uttering a single word. The art of silence, knowing when to pause. Have you ever experienced a conversation where someone asks you a question, and instead of immediately responding, they just sit there, silently staring at you? It's an eerie moment of stillness, a calculated pause that can leave you feeling uncomfortable and uncertain. You might even feel the need to fill the silence with words, trying to break the tension. But here's the thing: by waiting, this person isn't just creating discomfort, they're asserting control over the conversation. They are manipulating the flow, subtly guiding the direction of your thoughts, your emotions, and ultimately, your next actions. This pause is not a random lapse in communication. It is an intentional tactic. The more the silence stretches, the more you feel compelled to speak. It's as if the gap in the conversation is demanding your attention. You're no longer in control of the dialogue. You're drawn in by the silence, eagerly awaiting the other person's next move. How silence controls the mind. Strategic pauses are powerful because they trigger psychological vulnerability. Humans have an inherent discomfort with silence, particularly in situations where we feel the pressure to respond or make decisions. When a leader, negotiator, or even a friend uses silence deliberately, it forces the other person into a position where they begin to question themselves. What's going on in their mind? Why aren't they speaking? What do they know that I don't? In your own life, you can apply the power of strategic pauses in several ways. In conversations, when engaging in discussions or debates, try to use pauses effectively. After making a key point, allow a few seconds of silence before continuing. This will not only force the other person to reflect, but also allow you to gather your thoughts and maintain control of the flow of conversation. During decision-making, instead of rushing to make decisions under pressure, create a pause. Step back, reflect, and give yourself the time to assess the situation carefully before taking action. This practice helps you avoid knee-jerk reactions and ensures that you make more intentional, thoughtful decisions. In negotiations, whether you're negotiating a business deal or even negotiating with yourself on personal goals, don't rush into offering solutions. Use silence as a tool to allow the other party to reflect, offer more than they intended, and come closer to your desired outcome. In daily life, simply taking moments throughout the day to pause, whether during a busy meeting, a hectic day, or even in your personal relationships, can help restore a sense of calm and presence. These pauses can also prevent burnout and mental fatigue, ensuring that you're operating from a place of clarity and not exhaustion. Tactic 3, leading through nonverbal cues. The third tactic is about leading through nonverbal cues. Words are powerful, yes, but they are nothing compared to the nonverbal cues that leaders use to control the room. These cues aren't just gestures or facial expressions. They're the subtle signals that influence how people feel and behave around you. Think about a leader who enters a room and just stands there for a moment. They don't rush to take their seat. They don't immediately start speaking. They watch. They observe. The way they hold their posture, the way they look at others, how they move in a space, all of these actions create an energy that others can't help but respond to. People often underestimate the power of body language, but let's be honest, body language can speak volumes about how we feel and what we want. In fact, research shows that over 90% of communication is nonverbal. That's right, more than 90%. It's not just about the words you use, but about the energy you project, the confidence you radiate, and the way you make people feel when they're around you. For leaders, this is a golden tool. They don't have to speak loudly or forcefully to make their presence known. They simply exist with such strong nonverbal cues that others can't help but follow their lead. Their confidence, their calmness, their self-assuredness, all of these are contagious. This isn't just a tool for dominance in public settings, though. This tactic has profound implications for personal growth and spiritual healing. The way you carry yourself can impact how you feel about yourself. The next time you enter a room, stand tall. Take up space. Don't rush. Observe. Let your presence speak for you. When you learn to lead through nonverbal cues, you realize that your energy is just as powerful as your words, if not more. Tactic 4. The use of emotional manipulation. Next, we dive into one of the most powerful and often controversial tactics in leadership: emotional manipulation. At first glance, the word manipulation might carry a negative connotation, leading you to think of deceit or exploitation. However, in the hands of a master leader, emotional manipulation is not about taking advantage of others for personal gain. Rather, it's about the art of understanding emotions, harnessing them, and using them to guide people toward a collective goal, whether for the betterment of a cause, a group, or even for personal growth. The power of emotions in leadership. Emotions are at the core of human decision-making. We are not purely logical beings. Much of what drives us is how we feel about something or someone. Leaders who excel in emotional manipulation understand that emotions, whether positive or negative, can be harnessed to influence behavior and galvanize action. The ability to stir emotions, whether it's joy, anger, excitement, or fear, can create an immense shift in how people think and act. But here's the key. Emotional manipulation is not about deceiving or exploiting others. Rather, it's about creating the right emotional environment that leads to the desired outcome. Leaders use this tactic with a clear purpose, whether to inspire, rally, unite, or persuade their followers toward a common goal. By understanding and leveraging emotions effectively, a leader can create a sense of belonging, motivation, and commitment among those they lead. Emotional manipulation in the hands of a master. At its core, emotional manipulation involves tapping into the emotions of others to evoke a response. But what separates skillful emotional manipulation from negative manipulation is the intent behind it. Masterful leaders know that emotions are the fuel for action. They understand that people will work harder, fight longer, and overcome greater obstacles when their hearts are in it. A powerful leader can stir joy in a room full of tired workers, ignite anger at an injustice to spur change, or instill fear to push people into action in moments of crisis. But the most important factor is that these emotional triggers are used intentionally, not to control or deceive, but to align people with a higher purpose. Here are some ways you can use emotional manipulation positively in your life. Cultivate empathy. Understanding and connecting with others' emotions will allow you to build stronger relationships and influence them in positive ways. Tap into positive emotions. Use emotions like love, gratitude, and compassion to foster strong connections and bring out the best in others. Inspire and motivate. Use emotional triggers to inspire others to act toward a common purpose, whether that's within your family, workplace, or community. Heal and grow. Use emotional intelligence to navigate your own emotions, overcome negative feelings, and create a sense of peace within yourself. Create unity. By connecting emotionally with others, you can unite people toward a common cause, fostering a sense of collective purpose and community. Tactic 5, creating a sense of urgency. Finally, we arrive at one of the most powerful psychological tools in a leader's arsenal, creating a sense of urgency. This tactic is designed to compel followers to act swiftly and decisively, propelling them toward a goal, whether it's securing a business deal, advancing a political agenda, or tackling personal challenges. It's not just about pushing people to hurry, but about giving them the compelling reason to act now, making them feel that the moment to seize an opportunity is fleeting and must be seized with urgency. The art of creating urgency. Creating a sense of urgency is not about adding pressure or rushing people into decisions that they're not ready for. It's far more subtle and strategic. Leaders who excel in this tactic don't make people feel overwhelmed or coerced. Instead, they make the opportunity feel so important and time-sensitive that it becomes impossible to ignore. The goal is to inspire a sense of now or never. But why does urgency work so well? Humans are wired to avoid missing out. Psychologically, we are much more motivated when we feel there is a risk of losing an opportunity. Whether it's a limited time offer, a fleeting chance to make a difference, or the looming threat of a missed deadline, urgency taps into this core human fear, the fear of regret or missed opportunity. This feeling, when crafted skillfully, can push people out of their comfort zones and inspire action. However, urgency isn't a constant pressure, but a temporary push designed to stimulate the natural drive for achievement and success. It's about making the moment feel important, exciting, and full of potential. Effective leaders master the delicate balance between enthusiasm and pressure, ensuring that the urgency they create energizes their followers rather than overwhelming them. Take a look at public campaigns that demand action on environmental issues, such as climate change. These campaigns often use urgency by highlighting the imminence of the crisis, the rising global temperatures, the accelerating environmental damage, and the rapidly depleting natural resources. They make it clear that if we don't act now, the consequences will be irreversible. This approach works because it taps into a deep-seated emotional need to act before it's too late. The true power of psychological warfare. As you can see, the 5 tactics we've discussed today are incredibly powerful tools that leaders use to shape their environments and control the masses. But here's the spiritual twist. These tactics aren't just about controlling others, they're about controlling yourself. When you master silence, strategic pauses, nonverbal cues, emotional connection, and urgency, you also learn to heal yourself, to find inner peace, and to align with a higher purpose. Psychological warfare, when used with integrity and wisdom, isn't about manipulating others. It's about mastering your own mind and energy. When you do this, you not only influence those around you, but you also create a life of spiritual healing, control, and satisfaction. So, how will you use these tactics in your life? How will you move from being a passive participant to an empowered leader in your own journey? The choice is yours. Now, I want to hear from you. What tactics have you used to take control of your life? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more strategies on mastering the mind and gaining control of your own destiny.